All right, so it is time. I'm not just gonna talk about it, I am actually going to do it. It is time for us to build our own Steam machine now that the operating system is available to us, and the Steam machine kind of sucks hardware-wise. But no, I'm not just gonna walk you through a list of products that I don't actually own. I actually went out and ordered everything so you can really build something and see how it performs, because I wanna know. I really wanna know. And full transparency, some of these products I already owned, for example, this little case here, and my set of RAM, but I'm gonna use equivalent products and make a price list to see where we would end up if we were to purchase all of this now. For the motherboard, we decided on the Gigabyte 8620i-AX. Since this is going to sit next to the TV as pretty much a console, this motherboard has everything we need port-wise and feature-wise. It has Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.3 and plenty of I/O. The price is also a big factor, with it only coming in at $129. For the CPU, we chose the 6-core 12-thread Ryzen 5 9600X. We wanted to stick to a current generation CPU to make sure we weren't going to have outdated hardware anytime soon. We got ours at $176. And to cool the CPU, we opted in for the Thermalright AXP90 X53 full copper low profile cooler. Not only is this capable of cooling the 65 watt TDP of the CPU, since it's rated for 150 watt TDP, but when we bought it, it was only $28. For a low profile cooler, this is actually a real bargain. Oh, and if you aren't really into the full copper and red fan, they do have a black and a white version. RAM-wise, we already had a set to use, but we looked online to see how much it would cost to get 16 gigabytes at the same speed as a Steam machine. And we found a set of PNY 5600 for $220. Our RAM, of course, costs more than that, at around $250 to $270, but you don't have to get white RGB RAM. It's not necessary. For storage, we went with a 2TB Gen 4 NVMe from Vansony that cost us $240. This is way more than enough storage for games. It did go out of sale though when we did purchase this, so we found an equivalent to add to our list, which was actually a Sabrent Rocket 4, and at the time of the build, it was around the same price. Now, to power this machine, we chose the Cooler Master V850 SFX Gold PSU. I've used this in the past for other builds and haven't had any issues. And with it being 850 watts, we have plenty of room for our components. This comes out to $114. Now for the graphics card. We wanted something that would greatly outperform the Steam machine, but still be current generation. We decided on the Asus Dual RX Radeon 9060 XT, the 16 gigabyte version. This will make sure that we have enough VRAM, since we plan on gaming on this on a 4K TV and actually run some games at 4K 60. This GPU set us back $448. Now, to fit all of this in, sitting at a whopping 7.6 inches tall and 5.3 inches wide, we decided on the S300 case. Sure, we already owned it, but it was actually perfect for this build, and at only $89 at the time of this build, it was very affordable for an ITX case. Plus, it still has a pretty small footprint, and it looks very nice and clean. And if you're wondering, it's only 8.1 liters. And with this, we have a completed parts list, making our total $1,444. So slightly above the $1,428 maxed out Steam machine's price. But the difference is that we actually get current generation real desktop parts that can actually play a lot of games at 4K 60 FPS. And you can actually upgrade these parts later on. You're not stuck to the same hardware. The build, in my opinion, came out pretty clean. Although we are going to close it up, I'm glad it doesn't look super messy inside. And since the GPU is on the smaller side, we can always change the case to an even smaller one later on. All right, now that it's built, let's talk gaming. At first, I wanted to just play it. No FPS counters to draw me away from the experience or distract me. I was actually very surprised, since I figured being on a 4K TV that I would notice more stutters or lag, but it felt smooth and it was actually a great gaming experience. But of course, I know that y'all want to see FPS counters, right? You want to know what FPS we're actually playing at. So we did turn that on, and here are some of those results. On Tekken 8, we get a constant 60 FPS, which the game actually caps us on ultra settings. On mini-itx 2, we get above 80 FPS on the highest setting.
I'm having two. What if we're stuck here? Oh, stuck like this. You don't know that.
Brawlhalla capped at 60 FPS and also stays there. 007 First Light was the first game to give us trouble at 4K. With high settings with no FSR, we get about 25 to 30 FPS. So we changed a few settings to test out the quality, but then settled on 4K high settings with FSR on, balanced, and hit 55 to 65 FPS. Remember, you can turn down more settings if you want to, like the resolution, and you will get above the 100 FPS mark. This also told us that for higher demanding games, we have to make sure to turn on FSR. On 7 Deadly Sins Origin, we get above 80 FPS with FSR balance turned on. For Arc Raiders, this is another more intensive game that without FSR, we were getting about 30 FPS. This of course is unplayable for a competitive game, but once we turned on FSR balanced and set the overall graphics to high, we did hit 60 to 75 FPS. If we lowered the graphics to medium, we were well above 80 to 90 FPS. And if we set everything to low, it gives us 100 to 115 FPS. But let's be honest, most of us playing Arc Raiders would probably run it on low settings and maybe change it to 1440p. And once we did this, it jumped us up to 150 to 170 FPS, with up to 190 indoors. So yeah, for higher demanding games, we do have to tweak it a little bit, but it's still a great gaming experience. Coming from usually playing on higher specs machines, I was actually very surprised on how little I noticed the difference. The gaming on the couch with the Steam machine that we created was an absolutely amazing experience. But I do have to mention a few things. If you're gonna run a Steam machine, be aware that not every single game is going to natively run. For example, I tried to download Street Fighter, but Street Fighter just said, yo, this is not compatible with SteamOS. Like, you can't do that. And I'm sure there are other games out there that are going to do the exact same thing. So just be aware of that. If you're building your Steam machine to play one specific game, look it up first before you do this. If not, you're gonna have to run Windows. The other thing is that you don't necessarily have to build the exact same one that I did. You don't have to spend $1,444 even with new generation hardware. If you don't need the 2 terabyte NVMe, you could opt in for a 1 terabyte NVMe to save a little bit of money. That'll drop it down by $100 or more depending on what NVMe you get. So that's already at, let's say, $1,344. You also don't have to go with an ITX build. You can technically go with an mini-itx, get yourself an mini-itx board, and spend a lot less on your motherboard, as well as the power supply, because mini-itx motherboards are just cheaper than the ITX motherboards, as well as regular PSUs are going to be slightly cheaper than ITX PSUs. So that's gonna be another $100 that you save there. So then you're down to like $1,200 if you go with mini-itx. Sure, it's gonna be bigger, but you know, you gotta kind of balance out the pros and cons of the stuff. Okay, enough of me blabbering. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that it makes you want to build your own Steam machine, because essentially you build a Steam machine, you're literally building a custom PC. And if you learn how to build a custom PC yourself, you get exactly what you want. You don't have to buy a pre-build, you don't have to do any of that. It's just, here, I bought these parts, I put them together, and the satisfaction of me putting this together is so great that I kind of want to do it again afterwards. I don't know. But either way, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that it was informative enough so you can go out and build your own, because even though that the Steam machine hardware-wise is not great, they are sold out. It's really hard to get. People are actually buying these things. So building your own might be the way to go either way.